listeners. Welcome back to 20 Minutes a Day. Today, I'm excited to share my conversation with Paula, one of our amazing English coaches here at Verbatum. This is a fun and lighthearted episode where Paula shares which English expressions drive her a little crazy, where she'd love to live for a year, and a surprising hobby you might not expect from her. It's a great chance to get to know her personality and practice your listening at the same time. So let's dive into part one of our interview. Hi, Paula. Thank you so much for being here on our podcast today. Just to get us started, I thought I'd jump right into our first question. So, what words or expressions just get on your nerves?
Good morning. Well, I can say first off the bat, living the dream, the famous American expression, living the dream. I can't
Oh,
stand that one.
okay. Why? Why does that one get
Well,
on your nerves?
because there's typically a bit of sarcasm, and it's a bit of a
Mm,
sarcastic comment. I'm not a huge fan of sarcasm, but that in itself
okay.
isn't the reason. It just means I don't really know. Does that mean you're unhappy that the dream is bad?
Mm, okay.
It doesn't tell me anything, and it's also a bit of a cliche. So
Okay.
yeah, so and I'm thinking there's must be something more you can say in answer to that question. How are you? What's been happening? And I know
Mm.
it's a bit of a formality. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? But surely it's a bit of a meaningless one, and like I said, it's a bit sarcastic. So
I get that one. Okay, so like used in the context of how are you doing? Living the dream,
yes,
Okay, okay.
exactly. That's typically the response I hear. So I think, oh God, that means things aren't going so well. I'm really sorry.
Okay, yeah. And it's kind of like I don't know, it's a way to I don't know. I grew up in a family where sarcasm was used quite often, but in a fun way, not
Yes,
I grew up thinking that it was fun, but also understanding that when we use it, misinterpretation can happen if somebody doesn't understand sarcasm or
that's
if
correct.
if they don't understand the response. And like for example, there was one person every time that you asked him how are you doing, he'd be like terrible. And so the first time that you hear that you're like uh how do I respond to this? Are you
Exactly.
actually genuinely feeling bad, or is it just
But at
like
least
a
it's an honest answer. I mean, at least
yeah
you know what. At least you think, okay, that's a thing. Whereas living the dream is just
yeah
meaningless,
yeah that's
completely.
true.
What dream? I know it's the American dream, but that could be anything. So
It's true. It's very diverse. When somebody actually says, "I'm living my dream," like really, truly living your dream, that could be anything, right?
yes,
Because
and that would be a different response.
yeah,
To, thinking of delivery and language, the person would be smiling, probably they'd be
right,
excited. They
yeah,
might want to tell you more, but usually the I'm living the dream is, and there's nothing that comes after.
yeah.
It's just period, full stop, end, and you're left there with like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, you know.
Sorry that you're living the dream.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Is that good or bad? So yeah. So
yeah.
anyway,
It also makes you wonder too, is like, is the dream not what you expected? Like,
exactly.
is it too challenging to keep up once you've achieved it? Or is it not what you thought it was going to be? Is it actually more work, or you want more than what the dream was originally? There's a lot that kind of
Yes. Oh, yes, yes. There's a massive discussion you can have about the American dream.
yes.
And that's why the comment is so I don't know, so biting and often scathing. It can
Mm,
be very scathing about that dream without getting too kind of into the politics of things. But it is almost a disappointment.
mm,
Um, I have there is this concept of the dream, the American dream, and I'm not getting it,
mm,
so,
yeah.
which I find
Yeah.
sad, it's a
Yeah.
shame
Yeah.
when people make that comment, and it seems like it is a negative comment, it
Mm.
seems. it seems unfortunate. So
Yeah.
I'd rather have a different comment.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll have to come up with some questions, some follow-up questions to ask somebody the next time that they respond, I'm
Yes,
living the
yes,
dream. Yeah.
yes. Actually, I might ask, is that good or bad? Is that a good
Mm,
thing or a bad thing? So
yeah.
tell me about your dream. What's your dream? So maybe they'll backtrack a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Oh, get the conversation flowing, right? Which is
Yes,
probably
yes.
not what they wanted when they
No, no,
gave the
no, no,
sarcastic
I don't think
response.
so. Yes, yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about your dreams, I guess, a little bit. If you could live in any country for a year, where would it be and why?
Well, that's always been on my list of things to do, and that would be in France,
Mm,
for the cycling, and for the
okay.
wine and the
Okay.
cheese and the Tour de France and the language. Not, the language probably could have come at the beginning of that list because I mean, I took a lot of French at school and again at university, but I've never, and academically on paper, I'm pretty competent, but I cannot speak. When I'm in a French speaking country, I
Mm,
just get like a rabbit in headlights. And that is a shame because I do feel I'm pretty proficient at understanding the language.
mm,
So that would be a place I would love to spend some time, for
okay.
all of those reasons.
Yeah, I would say that your feeling towards French, or somebody might have it towards Spanish or Italian or German or whatever language they learned in school, is a very common feeling of,
Yeah.
you know, textbook wise, school wise, I did great, got all A's, straight A's or whatever. But I just can't remember any of the vocab when it's time to speak, or
Yes.
my pronunciation is terrible. Like, so many times I've heard that even from clients that have learned English in school here in Quebec, but just never really got the chance to put it into practice. So
Yes.
spending a year in France would really solidify that for you,
It would
because you
indeed.
have the
Yeah.
base already.
Yes.
All those words are up there in your head somewhere.
Yes,
So,
and the structure, the grammar structure. I mean,
yeah.
I love grammar. I absolutely love grammar. It's so interesting for some reason. I understood it easily at school, and
Yeah.
it really kind of stuck with me. Like many things at school haven't stuck with me,
Mm.
but that is one thing that has. And I have been to France many, many times,
Okay.
mostly Paris, and of course, anyone in a big city, Parisians, Londoners, they always speak much quicker,
Mm,
and I have made attempts all over France, and I've been to Quebec once in my life as well, which was much easier because people speak a little slower and they're a little more willing
mm.
for you to have a go. Whereas in France, they usually just launch into English because they see me floundering or they don't have the patience for my floundering. So,
Yeah.
so, so
Or, I mean, I'm sure that if you went into smaller cities in France that were maybe further from other borders, maybe you'd be able to get into a place where nobody else spoke English, or very, very, very
yes,
few percentage for, yeah, very small percentage spoke English. I don't know. I would assume that that would be where you would be able to practice the most.
yes. I'd be very happy to do that. As long as
Yeah.
I have a bicycle, I'd be quite content.
That's very yeah, that's a very beautiful I feel like that'd be a very beautiful year.
Hmm.
Just like riding around on your bicycle, practicing French, drinking good wine, eating good cheese and bread. Oh,
Yes.
the
Oh, yeah, that
baguettes
was
and
on the list too.
everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the
That'd
bread.
be
Oh, the
fun.
croissant. Actually, the croissant. I love
Oh, okay.
croissant. And where I am, there are things they call croissant, but they are not nice. They're just I can't
Hmm.
get a decent croissant
Are
within
they
like a,
like thick
yeah,
instead
they're
of
kind of
like
bready.
flaky and
Yeah.
buttery? Okay, okay, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I can't
Yep.
get a decent croissant within a 100-mile radius probably. So
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah,
I know
so
it's bad.
trips to France make more sense.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And
All right. What's a weird or unexpected hobby you have outside of coaching English learners?
Okay, I don't think I have any weird hobbies, but maybe unexpected. And I wrote a couple things down. And I'm like, oh, I don't know which one to pick. Um, well, I do a cold plunge every morning.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And and in the wintertime there was ice, a little bit of ice on the surface. So yeah.
Okay. Wow, brave,
Okay.
brave, brave.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's a very popular thing to do at the moment, so it's not
Mhm.
probably the most unexpected thing anybody could say. But perhaps when you hear someone doing it, you're like, oh wow, you do that, you
Yeah,
know.
and consistently too.
Yeah,
I think
sometimes
that's
I
a big
just run
thing.
out of time
Yeah,
to do it before I need to get out of the house.
right,
But usually, I mean, it's only a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes,
right.
so it's not
Yeah.
it's not like I'm out there forever. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty
Wow.
addictive, I have to say.
Okay, okay.
It's very addictive, and I know there are people whoever's listening to this would many people would be like, "That's disgusting. That's the worst thing I could ever think of doing, getting into really cold water." And I was one of those people
Okay.
a number of years ago. Um, and to the point where I didn't even want to get into a pool, it just was like
Okay,
ick.
yeah.
And I can't believe how I'm not like that anymore.
Huh.
And it's made me tougher. I'm much more resilient to the cold winter and
Okay.
everything.
Yeah.
And also, I actually really, really not necessarily enjoy it when I first sit down, of course, but it's when you
Uh-huh.
get out that you you really enjoy it because you get that all the good things that are supposed to happen. One of which is a mood, it enhances your mood, and you get this really, really nice, warm sort of feeling all over. So, yeah, I would highly recommend it.
Okay. All right. Well, I was at a youth camp a couple months ago, and one thing that they did was the polar plunge, um,
Yep.
and it was cold.
And you did it.
I did it. I did
Oh, excellent.
it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So did you? Because I know those polar plunges have been going on forever,
Mm.
everywhere. There's one nearby. How do you just run in and run out, or what do most people do? Because I've never actually seen it.
Yeah, so this one what it was like a big glass oh, I don't know if it was glass, but it was clear, so like you could see into it. And so you could see the people jumping in. And so
Oh, jumping in.
yes,
Yuck.
the challenge was jumping in, like making a face at the glass and then going out. So
Oh my
some people,
gosh.
the majority of people did that actually, like they fully submerged. Some people just like got up to their chest because when you stand, like it was up to here on most people, like up to their chest. And so some people just did that and they're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then you just kind of you get out and
Yeah.
there's a little slide that you go down. And it's a big thing where lots of teenagers and some of the counselors are participating in
Oh
it.
my gosh.
And there's
Wow.
snow on the ground, and so they're like, make sure you're wearing some sort of shoes or thick layer of socks or something, and don't run when you get out, because you start in this tent that they've heated so that you're warm, and they're getting you exercising before jumping in, and then you kind of want to seek refuge in that tent afterwards, but they're like, don't
Absolutely.
run,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
run.
Oh, that's
But
excellent.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Some people did it twice in a row, and I was like, nope, one is good for me.
That's very
But
impressive, though. And so you jumped in and you went under.
I jumped in. I went
Ah,
under. I
that's
made a
a
face
shock.
at the at the glass. So
Well, that's unexpected. I didn't expect you to say that, so that's great.
yeah, I think I would do it again next year. I have a whole year to think about it, so
Yeah, yes, yeah.
we'll
And you could
see.
do some secret training or something. Just get
Yes,
into a cold bathtub or whatever.
yeah, and the house that we purchased actually has a pool, and so in Quebec, there's like maybe 2 months if you're lucky where you can actually enjoy the
Yes.
the pool. So we'll keep it open for a little bit, and maybe I'll do some polar plunges in the
Oh,
morning.
excellent. Oh, you'll be into winter swimming soon, which is what I
Yeah.
also do that too. So you'll be into winter
Oh,
swimming. Yeah, yeah. This year I didn't get much in because the lake was frozen, which
Okay.
is a bit atypical nowadays in Pennsylvania. It's with the climate change and whatnot. But yeah, typically I would swim. I mean, I say swim. You're not in for much more than, depending on the temperature, because the water does get down to sort of zero. No, not zero, 2, 3, 4 degrees in an
Okay.
average winter. So it's a very short swim,
Okay.
but it's so
Okay.
much better than jumping in because you're
Yes,
swimming, so you're generating heat. So I would encourage you to get into your pool.
that makes sense. Yep. 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 The temperatures do get pretty cold down here. But it's about that because you're talking about Fahrenheit, right?
No,
One,
I'm talking
two.
about Celsius, the
Oh, you are talking about
zero.
Celsius.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
no, 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 no,
So
Celsius.
in
It's
that
it's
case, it gets a lot colder. When we did the
yes,
polar plunge, it was like
yes.
-15.
Yes, well, that's the difference. We don't have that air temperature. So
Yeah.
that's the craziness of, I mean, that's amazing. Our air temperature well, it can get down to maybe zero or somewhere between 0 and 5 in the winter,
Okay.
8 max if we're having a warm winter.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but no, we don't get the minus we did this year, which is why the lake froze. But
Right. Okay.
I could not. I mean, I know people who go up to Vermont and they have to cut a lane in the ice to do these swimming events, these winter swimming events. So it is
Wow,
a
and
bit
they
like where
do.
you are. It is
Oh my
minus
goodness.
something Fahrenheit, as well as they're swimming in freezing water. I'm
Wow.
not sure that's for me.
Wow. Well, we all need to, challenge ourselves a little
This
bit.
is
So
true. Yeah.
I'll see how long I'll last. I'll see
Yeah.
when I say,
Yeah.
okay, let's close up the pool.
Yep. I think I mean, you could do it. And then you'll be perfect for the polar plunge then if you
Yeah,
could do a bit of that.
exactly. Then, yeah, that'll be that'll be nothing by the time I get there. And that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. I had a great time chatting with Paula, and there's more to come next week in part 2, where we get a little deeper and talk more about travel and the concept of home. So don't miss it. We'll see you then.